Now, with Tariq being in jail, he's gonna have a lot of thinking time, and no doubt he's gonna be thinking exactly how he managed to get arrested when he had everything planned. He's gonna be thinking about who betrayed him, who he can trust and who he can't trust, and what moves he needs to make to come out on top. We're gonna see a different side of Tariq being unleashed in the second half of the season, and that's because being in jail changes a person. You're away from everything that comforts you, everything that makes you feel at home. You have no idea what's going to happen to you because you've got no control over what you're doing, when you're moving, and how you're eating. For the first time in your life, you realize the choices ain't yours. Fuck a gun or a knife being pointed at you. That shit, that first night in jail, that's real fear. But fear can also unleash the monster that lives within inside you, something that you're not, or maybe who you were deep inside to begin with. And now Tariq now needs to move like Ghost and Kanan. Think about this situation in power. Ghost was someone who always believed you should never kill law enforcement because of the heat and attention it would bring on you and your organization. But while he was in jail, he pretended to be someone that he wasn't. But he was pushed to the absolute limit by Marshall Clyde Williams to the point where he absolutely smashed his skull in. And this is something that Tariq needs in his life, something that will turn him into an absolute monster, something that will make him prove Ghost and his letter wrong, which I think he will, because we are going to see him burning this. But he can burn Ghost's letter all he wants. Ghost definitely lives inside him, and we're going to see him moving like Ghost. But what does Tariq lack in terms of his skill set? We all know he's smart, he's a money man, and he knows how to move weight and stay invisible, just like a ghost, because of the system that he's put in place with course correct. But the thing is, he doesn't know how to fight, and that's the biggest skill set that he's missing. For those of you who watch Snowfall, know that Franklin Saint is going to be on some demon time in season 5, and we saw this image of him in the teaser, and this is what I want to see from Tariq St. Patrick. I want to see Tariq St. Patrick learn how to fight and be able to throw his hands, and hopefully while he's in jail, this is something he's forced into learning. But having said this, the biggest advantage that Tariq has at this moment in time is nobody knows what he's been through in his life before they met him. People around him think Tariq is just a silver spoon, meaning someone who's wealthy or comes from a privileged background, and you'll notice Kane calling Tariq a silver spoon, and that's his nickname for him. But they don't realize that Tariq has been through more shit than they have. Even though he didn't grow up in the streets, Tariq has seen a lot of death and hurt around him. He saw his twin sister Raina being killed by Ray Ray. He then exerted his revenge on Ray Ray by killing him himself. You also saw an innocent civilian with Carol being killed by Brains. Jukebox kidnapped Tariq and held a gun to his head and threatened to kill him right before Kanan killed her in front of Tariq. And then he even set his own best friend up and witnessed 4 NYPD officers being killed as well as Kanan. But not only has he seen a lot of death around him, he's been hung off a roof by Tommy, who gave him one piece of advice that I'm sure stuck with him.
This is the game. Every fucking moment of your life, if you ain't pushing, you falling.
He was also held by Vincent and also beaten in front of Ghost and Tommy. And last but not least, Tariq killed his own father for getting in the way of his future. So if Tariq is capable of killing his own father for getting in the way of his future, just what do you think he's willing to do to save his future now?
I stay in school. I'm gonna do anything to protect my future and Monet.
So you can say, Kane is playing a very dangerous game coming for someone like Tariq, because he doesn't know exactly what he's capable of. Nobody does, except for Rashad Tate, who does know, because he knows he's the one who killed Ray Ray. But this is Tariq's biggest advantage, him being underestimated, and he's going to use a mixture of the 48 laws of power over the second half of the season to make his move. So let's have a look at some. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic to transform your weakness into a position of strength and power. Now Kane has gone on the offense and been the more aggressive out of the two, even though Tariq told him that he has a plan to keep them both out of jail because that's the greater good. But Tariq's best response at this moment in time is no response at all. Turn a blind eye and halt Kane or anyone else coming after him even more, because then he's given them this false sense of belief that they've defeated him.
You know, the easiest way to sneak up on your enemies is to make them think that they already won.
And then when they think they've defeated Tariq, this is where he's going to build from strength to strength, discovering each enemy's weaknesses and thumbscrew and planning his revenge. This is the best way to use the surrender tactic, which Kanan used in power and also taught Tariq. But let's have a look at Law 25, recreate yourself. Now everybody is born into a family that shapes your character and who you are, but according to Law 25, Tariq needs to take control and recreate his own path, hence the reason why he killed Ghost. Ghost wanted to create Tariq into a man that he wanted him to be, but Tariq had other plans. He wanted to be his own man. Now the circumstances that he finds himself in, being behind bars, is what will change him and what will allow him to gain this power, because he's gonna have to recreate himself into an even colder and more ruthless Tariq, someone who has to move like Ghost but be ruthless like Kanan. Because we all know Ghost hesitated in killing, which on many occasions came back to haunt him, for example Maria Suarez and Kanan himself. So I really hope we see another hallucination scene of Kanan, where he then guides himself through the process and how he has to move. And also because Tariq loved Kanan, he was the only one who really cared for him and still refers to him as his best friend to this day, and he would rather talk to Kanan than Ghost. The letter that Ghost left for him would have annoyed him. He's gonna be so pissed off sitting in jail, thinking that Ghost has got one over him. Kane planted the evidence, Brayden lying to him about Kane coming to their room looking for Tariq, Lauren wearing the wire. Even though she had good intentions in terms of helping Tariq, I don't think Tariq will see it this way, and he may even think that Monet is behind the stitch up as well. The problem is for Tariq, he's been a lot more open and honest this season, especially with Lauren and Brayden, and also trusting Kane and working with him to keep them both out of jail, which backfired majorly. So Tariq won't be able to trust anyone. So those around him will have to prove their loyalty to Tariq, and one of them is Brayden. Tariq knows about Brayden's privileged circumstances and background, and even mentioned in episode 2 that'll come in use for them, and he's gonna have to step up for Tariq in his absence and really make it up to Tariq. So with Brayden's help, and maybe Lauren and the Wire as well, we're gonna see Tariq playing the biggest game of chess to come out on top. And this is why we're gonna see the true meaning of Ghosts Never Die. While everybody's playing checkers, Tariq is going to be playing chess, but quietly going about his moves exactly like Kanan taught him. Always be 3 moves ahead of your enemies and make them think that they already won. Now Mecha's smart, and his character analysis is coming up next, but why else do you think Mecha wanted Kane to have control over Tariq? Because he could tell the moment he saw him, the way he was carrying himself, Tariq is smart, and he can't be easily manipulated as Kane. And he knows he's better off having someone like Kane as his number 2, as someone he can nurture and manipulate and mold into a version of who he wants, because as we all know, Tariq is his own man, which Monet made clear in episode 2 when she warned Diana not to get involved with Tariq. But Diana is also another person who I think Tariq will be using in the second half of the season to get this power and control, because she knows what Kane did, and I can see her siding with Tariq. And when all of this does happen, Tariq is going to get his revenge, and he'll stand on top. Of course with power there's always twists and turns, but I expect Tariq to be 3 moves ahead from now on, with his head on a constant swivel. So drop all your thoughts down below on how Tariq will use his surrender tactic to his advantage, how he'll make his enemies think that they've defeated him to his advantage, and how he's going to recreate himself to bring out his inner Ghost and Kanan. But as always guys, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.